So hi everyone.
You're recording.
Thanks. Hi there, my name's Lois Betts and I'm joined here by Steve Williams, and we're both from the Dorset Careers Hub. And we're really pleased that you've all joined us today for this session with the Marriott about hospitality. So just before they get started, I just want to take you through a couple of little bits of details. So if you would like to ask a question, and I know some of you have already submitted a question beforehand, so that's great. But if you want to ask a question, we'd like it if you could wait till we get towards the end, and we're going to give you a good sort of 10 minutes to ask questions at the end. You can talk to us, that's absolutely fine, through your system, but if you also want to use the chat box, then you can see it at the bottom of your screen or at the top, and you can click on chat, and I'm sure you're all getting very, very used to that from all your school and college work at home. So we're recording the session, so if you don't want to be on that at all, obviously you can leave your video turned off, so it's got a little cross through it, and obviously on mute, so that you won't be recorded. We will put you on mute just while the main bit of the session's on, so that we don't get any background noise. Hopefully that's all okay with everyone. And if you've got any help, or if you need anything during the session, you can drop me an email, so you might want to make a note of that. And just so you know, I'll be able to give you a help with whatever you need during the session. So hopefully that'll help. And don't worry if you get cut off and you just need to rejoin, that's fine. We'll let you straight back in. You'll go back into the waiting room and we'll rejoin. So it's really relaxed and you know, friendly session, really great chance for you to hear from the Marriott about careers in the Marriott across the UK and specifically in Dorset as well. So we're all really pleased to have you here. And I'll hand over to them now. So I'll just stop sharing, and a lovely Becki is going to share. Okay.
Great, thanks ever so much, Lois. Hopefully everyone can hear me. Give me a thumbs up if the sound is good. Fantastic. So firstly, good evening, everyone, and thank you just for giving us this opportunity, really, to talk to you about Marriott, about the hospitality industry, and an opportunity for us to share our own individual career journeys. I can't tell you, it's never been probably so important, actually, especially given the recent impact that the pandemic has had and continues to have actually on our industry in particular. However, I am delighted to reassure everyone that is on this call that Marriott as a company are here to stay. And hopefully that will come through in the next few slides. And that was actually reaffirmed by a call that we had as leaders only this morning to discuss our 5-year recovery plan and to support our growth going forward. So it's an absolute pleasure to be here today, and just thank you to BCP and the Careers and Enterprise Company for arranging this. So during this session, you'll hear from several speakers, including myself. I'm the Assistant Cluster Director of HR for the South, the West of England and Wales. This is a relatively new cluster, and I'll talk about my role in a second. We also have one of our infamous chefs, for anyone that's on this call looking to enter into the culinary discipline. So Cepdia Schrouder is one of our senior chefs across our Bristol Marriott hotels. And we also have a very esteemed and experienced hotel manager, which is Mike Harrison. So he's going to talk to you a little bit about his career journey as well, and he's based in Bournemouth. So as part of this agenda, we will each share our career progression routes. We'll provide some information about the skills and experience that's required. And I think we do have an opportunity at the end just to open up for any Q&A. And I think there was a Q&A actually that came in before the call started today. So we'll make some time for that if you've got any questions. So there's a lot of words on this screen, so sorry if it's a bit of an eye test. Gosh, where do I start? I would envy anyone on this call if you know exactly what you want to do with your career, because quite frankly, I didn't have a clue. One thing that I always did, I worked, and I worked at a very young age. I started in hospitality at a very young age, working in private restaurants. In fact, my auntie, she ran her own restaurant, private independent hotels. But this was mainly probably in housekeeping departments, food and beverage, because like I said, I didn't know what I wanted to do at a young age. I just followed what I was good at. So simultaneously, I completed my A-levels. I studied business economics, English, and art and design. So I don't think there is anyone from Bournemouth Grammar School on the call, but I did study in one of our local schools, at the Bournemouth Grammar School. And I later actually went on to specialise in art and design and textile design at the Arts Institute at Bournemouth University. But equally, I wanted to earn money, I'll be honest with you. I wanted to buy my own house. And in 2001, I joined Marriott. In fact, I joined at this hotel that I'm sitting in right now. And I started as a personal assistant to the director of sales and marketing. And I was the hotel secretary to the general manager at the time. And I was continuing to study for part of this. So I started probably part-time and then started to progress on full-time. I then completed various maternity covers. I worked in finance, HR, having known nothing about HR. In fact, someone said to me, "Do you fancy working in HR?" And I said, "What's that?" And then I fell in love. In 2003, HR actually became my new passion. And Marriott sponsored me to complete my CIPD qualification vocation. I did that over 3 years, alongside completing the various leadership training programs. And you'll hear hopefully from the others, one thing that Marriott's very good at is offering training, development, and I've learned just so much by working for this company. So then in 2004, I successfully assumed my first HR team leader role and transferred over to one of our country club Marriott's, not too far away in Southampton. And then very quickly became a multi-property HR manager, overseeing several hotels on the South Coast, before progressing to a director executive committee level by 2007. I then actually left, I don't know if I should say this on this call, but I left Marriott in 2009. I would say I left on a good note, only because I started at such a young age. So I just needed to get a sense check of different sectors. And actually, for some of those that are on the call, I did actually work in or provide services, HR services to education, public sector. So I was actually based at the Bournemouth Town Hall, providing HR services to the local authority, various local businesses, in a HR business partner capacity. I was then promoted to the head of HR advisory because we outsourced HR to a company called Keir Mouchel, and I had a team of about 10 HR consultants, and we were proactively selling and delivering HR services across the UK, and this was to schools, academies, local authorities, and my role at the time was to specialise in employee relations and project management. I also then went on to complete my level 7 CIPD qualification. So this is masters. So I have the MCIPD letters after my name. And that was only after a very comprehensive skills and experience assessment. So if anyone is looking to come into HR, the CIPD is quite a grueling qualification, but there's plenty of us that have gone through it, and plenty of support around to help with that as well. I then actually returned to Marriott in 2016, and that was after having my daughter. And what a whirlwind the last 5 years have been. I've worked in various UK clusters, including golf and country clubs. So we've got several country club hotels in our portfolio, and the Southwest. And I guess, you know, my main role was to support in the delivery of various large scale change management programs. So you're talking outsourcing, transferring out departments. So lots of change going on in the last 5 years. And I'm now back in the Southwest working as the Assistant Cluster Director of HR. It's the biggest Southwest cluster. We've now got 10 hotels, so Preston, Liverpool, Manchester, Bournemouth, Swindon, Bristol, Wales. So it keeps it interesting. So in terms of skills, knowledge and experience, I've sampled a few here. Employment law knowledge, when I first came into HR, you know, that was not something that I had. So that was something that I was given through the sponsored qualifications, and they put their trust in me. Marriott put their trust in me to be able to achieve that qualification. I have done a project management qualification as well. In fact, that was at Bournemouth University, and that's something that's been particularly crucial with managing some of these large scale projects that we've had to undertake. And facilitation skills, and we do have training as well that exists in Marriott to support anyone who trains within the company, because that's a skill within itself. So those are kind of the top 3 skills qualifications, and then the softer skills, I would say, and probably my colleagues would echo this, resilience, and I think our resilience has been tested to the max over the last 10 months. So it's constantly changing, and you need to be a resilient leader. Organisation, you need to be organised, you need to be adaptable to that change, because change sometimes doesn't come that easily to some people, quite difficult sometimes. To be a coaching counsel, to manage stakeholders, and what I mean by that, there's a lot of people that we need to get buy-in, especially in our above property leadership roles, and so that is something that we need to be mindful of in terms of when we're delivering projects. Do we have all the stakeholders on board? And developing others and managing talent. We're very passionate about growing talent in our business. It's about spotting talent as well. So those are probably the top key skills that I thought would be quite useful just to share. And as I said, you'll probably hear some similarities from my colleagues later. So to kick off in terms of the Marriott history, because that's enough about me, I just want to give you an insight into the history of the company. And this is something that really inspired me in terms of working for Marriott and actually returning to Marriott. Marriott actually started as a 9-seat root beer stand, if you know what that is, if you've ever tasted root beer, it's an acquired taste, in Washington, DC back in 1927. Not a lot of people know that. It was owned and operated by a young couple still in their 20s who spent their honeymoon driving 3,000 miles across the US in a Model T Ford, for those of you that like your cars. And that individual in the middle is their first ever employee, or our first ever employee, called Mr. Robert Smythe. So that's Marriott's first ever employee, and he looked after him. And this is underpinning all of the values that we have today. So the determination and pioneering spirit would serve them well in the years to come and set the standard for those who would follow them in the business. From these humble beginnings, Marriott built their business through hard work, commitment to delivering the very best products and service possible. And then over the years, you'll see the company grew by continually raising the bar, introducing new products and services, and branching out to serve new customers in new markets in new and better ways. So along the way, they instilled their people first philosophy, and you'll hear a lot about that in the next few slides as well, throughout the organisation. The foundation of service, integrity and opportunity they created has served as the catalyst for everything we've aspired to and achieved over the past 90 plus years. So the next slide, I think this captures probably our philosophy in a few words. And you may have heard some companies say this, but this is particularly true for Marriott. And like I said, underpins everything we do. Taking care of our employees. Oh, do we have someone on mute? Taking care of our employees, and the employees will take care of the customer, is the foundation and guiding principles behind everything that we do in Marriott, and remains at the heart of the business and our culture 90 plus years on. An example of this is our take care culture, and how we've provided support such as medical care to our employees. The next slide also talks about how success is never final. And Marriott was constantly looking to improve the business and went from a 9-seat root beer stand to selling hot dogs and tamales at several hot shops, to curbside service, and then being the first drive-through restaurant on the East Coast, to then in-flight catering as we know it now. Marriott pioneered that, and we're constantly evolving and diversifying. So then in 1957, Marriott took a new direction and opened its first hotel, the 365 Twin Bridges in Arlington, Virginia. J.W. Marriott Jr., he was only 25 years old, and he was put in charge of the company's new hotel business, not knowing anything about running hotels. He later became what we now know as the visionary CEO, and he transformed the hospitality industry globally and put Marriott on the global map. So Marriott today, we're proud to say that we're the largest hotel company in the world. We have 30 different brands in over 110 countries. You can see some of them there, you may recognize them, and more than 5,700 properties following the recent Starwood acquisition in 2016, with millions of loyal members. We continue to evolve and continue to diversify and never stand still. Again, we've shown that in the last recent months where we've had to adapt. Our future vision remains firm, which is to now be the world's favorite travel company. So we've achieved creating the world's largest hotel company. And despite the recent pandemic, as we've shown before, we've survived several recessions and depressions over the years, and we're optimistic that we are here to stay. So before I hand over to, I believe it's Cepdia, who's from our Bristol hotel, I think we're going to just show a short video, and this is just illustrating the different career options which are available in Marriott. So thank you for listening and enjoy.
And no sound.
Oh, the sound's not coming through. We might be having a few technical issues.
I've tried all of this. Hang on.
Just when we thought it was going so well.
I think we're going to have to leave that.
Shall we move on to Cepdia? And if we have any joy later on, maybe we can revisit it. Lois, are you happy with that?
Yeah, I'm definitely happy. Oh, and we'll definitely share in the chat the video link, because I'm sure you guys might want to be able to watch it afterwards. I know
I'll grab it now.
Easiest way. Yeah.
Great. Without further ado, Cepdia, if you're on the call, I'm going to hand over to you.
Hello guys, how are we all doing? Thank you, Tommy, for that. Much appreciated. Some good information about the Marriott, about how we all started. Right, so I'm Cepdia Schrouder. At the moment, I'm based in Bristol Marriott Royal, and I'm also doing both hotels at the moment. I'll get onto that a bit more later on. But a little bit more about how I managed to get into these chef whites. You're probably wondering yourself, and how you can get into these chef whites, which is never an easy task. I first started off at a small company called Angie's Catering Services, which we made sandwiches. And I missed my work placement. So I wanted to be a PC engineer. That's what I first wanted to be. And my teacher said to me, you need to go somewhere. I don't care where it is. You've got to do your work placement. So I picked the yellow pages. This is before all your times. There's a big yellow book. You could stand on it and probably get your cookies out the top drawer. It was that huge. And I flicked it open and I saw Angie's Catering. I went, right, I'm going there to make sandwiches for 2 weeks. And then I'm going to get back onto my course. I went there. I loved it. I love making the sandwiches, love making the bread, love slicing the Parma ham. It was absolutely amazing. So I finished that, and then I went back, told my teacher, and said, you know what? I want to be a chef. And they said, are you crazy? Why would you want to do that? I said, I don't know. I genuinely just loved it. It was just great. So I finished school, and then I went on to a place called Birmingham College of University, which is where they just study nothing but catering. That's all they study. So I stayed there. For the first 2 years, I'd done my MVQ in chefing, and then I went back again for the third year and done a degree in cooking and hospitality. I'm telling you, it was the hardest thing I've probably ever done. I've met quite a few people I was there. We had cooking competitions, and we got judged by Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver. They was there as well. They judged our cooking competition. And how we had to run a restaurant. It's like literally running like a mini business, if that makes sense. So you have your own little restaurant, you've got to order the food, you've got to do your own menu, you've got to employ your own staff. I've had to sack staff, you know, you couldn't believe it because they didn't come to work on time, so I've had to get rid of them. So I've done all that, and that pushed me straight into the big world of Marriott. So my very first job at the Marriott was at the Forest of Arden. Now, if you ever know where that is, that's literally in the central of England, a place called Meriden, very, very quiet. And I could tell you the Forest of Arden probably was the hardest place I've ever worked. They were so busy, it was unbelievable. You had a golf course, which you land a helicopter on there. You had a sauna, you had a swimming pool, you had a jacuzzi, literally everything was there. And I'll tell you now, I learned so much working for the Marriott. They literally looked after me. They trained me. They sent me away on courses to do. I played golf in my spare time, which I shouldn't be saying that, but it was absolutely fantastic. I learned how to play a little bit of golf, and we played football, we played table tennis. It was absolutely great. Not only that, learning in the kitchen was absolutely fantastic. I worked with some fantastic chefs along the way. I met a lot of friendly people. And then from there, my career took me all the way to Bristol Marriott Royal. Now you're probably wondering, I'm at Bristol Marriott Royal now, where did I go before then? So I came to Bristol Marriott Royal, I got a promotion from a CDP to a junior sous chef. So I came here, I worked under a chef called Martin Watkins, which I've never had the opportunity to design a whole restaurant before. So keeping in mind, we designed a whole restaurant from the menu, the tables, the chair, to the sockets, to where everything goes. It just goes to show, even though we're chefs, it'd be amazing how much other things that we do around this hotel that actually supports the rest of the people, the guests, and different departments. And then from the Bristol Marriott Royal, I went to a place called the St. David, which was a 5-star hotel. Again, very, very busy. And it's more busy towards the clients. So we had guests like Pink. I'm not really know much about footballers. The guy with the thing on his hair, plays for Wales.
Gareth Bale.
Bale, perfect. There you go. You get to show how much I know. So I met Gareth Bale. I met him and his family. You know, absolutely fantastic people. And look, we're just chefs. And to be honest with you, I was very, very surprised how friendly most of these people are. And also I learned a lot, you know, at St. David's. It's a 5-star hotel, cooking the different dishes, different cuisines, people's different needs, dietary requirements. You know, you're amazed how the footballers' dietary requirements are just out of this world. You know, what they can have, what they can't have, what time they can eat, what time they can't eat. As a chef, you know, you prepare yourself for something like that, which is very important. And also you've learned all that back in university from where I studied for so long. So you don't really struggle. And also Marriott teaches you all that. You know, they set the path, they set the goals for you, and it all depends what you want to do with your career. It depends where you want to go. You know, I love cooking. I generally enjoy it. You know, for me to get to where I am now, I started off as a commis chef at the Forest of Arden. Now I'm back here at the Bristol Marriott Royal. I'm doing both hotels. So I'm doing the Royal, I'm doing the City Centre. So I'm going back and forth to both hotels at the moment because the whole pandemic is just all a bit mental. But, you know, I'm still here. We're still feeding people. We're still feeding guests. Nothing hasn't stopped for us at the Marriott. We're still going. You know, you'd be amazed at the moment. Most people are at home, probably relaxing. Honestly, I'm so busy, I couldn't describe to you how busy I am right now. So it's very important. Well, I'm pretty sure Mike knows more than I do. I'm pretty sure, you know, you guys probably know what you want to do. And I know what I wanted to do, and I wanted to be a chef. And for me, the highlight of my career was, yes, working in the 5-star hotel, but also to have the opportunity to go and work for Mike, who was poaching eggs for like nearly like a month in Bournemouth. But for me, it was fantastic. You know, I got time to go to the beach. I went for long walks. You know, when you work for the Marriott, don't just think to yourself, okay, fine, I'm going to be stuck at one hotel. The opportunities are there for you guys to go to as anywhere you want to go. It's honestly, it's all down to you. It's all about how much effort you put into your career, what you want to learn, who you want to meet. It's literally all down to you guys to try and make an effort to try and do what you want to do, how you want to, you know, improve your career. I think for my role, the skills and knowledge and experience that was needed was menu planning. Like I said before, menu costing. I've also got to sort out staff. You know, if someone doesn't come to work on time, I've got to deal with that. If someone's sick, I've got to deal with that. I've got to deal with the payroll, food costs, you know, all that sort of stuff is what you learn on your way up towards where you are. So hopefully one day, you never know, I might be a head chef, fingers crossed. But that's what I'm going to push myself towards. And it's down to you guys to push yourself towards that or whatever you guys choose to do. You know, you can all go to different departments as well, which I'm pretty sure the other guys will tell you more about, and try and learn as much as possible. So just don't think you're going to be stagnant, because you won't be. Honestly, working for Marriott, it's amazing. There's hotels everywhere. You can travel anywhere you want to go. And that's me from Sep.
Cepdia. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself and my career. So my name's Becki, and then I'll talk a little bit about why hospitality. So with my career, I did start working in kind of retail and hospitality when I was 16 years old. I was a very shy individual at school, wouldn't say boo to a goose. and I felt that going into a customer service role would really help boost my confidence, which it did. So I decided, because I really enjoyed hospitality so much, it took me a while to decide, but I decided I was going to go to Bournemouth University, and I studied international hospitality management with them in 2013. It was a 4-year course, and as part of that course, I was able to do the opportunity to do a placement year. And in this placement year, I decided to go to America, where I worked in a small inn near Boston. And it was in Cape Cod, which is a very beautiful area of the world, lots of sandy beaches, got to go whale watching. But my role there was to be a trainee innkeeper. And I absolutely loved working in hospitality, loved being around completely different cultures, which I think is one of the biggest parts of hospitality, is that there's so many different cultures that you work with, but also get to meet as well. So I finished my year abroad in America, and I was in my final year of university. So I decided I wanted to start having a look at corporate hospitality. So which I went to Marriott and I asked for a job as a food and beverage casual, because I was still working full time at university, but I still wanted to make a little bit more money, but still get my experience as well. So during my final year and being in food and beverage, one of my units was about change management and being a change management in hospitality, and I found it very interesting. And I knew that being in HR would be a great way of getting more experience in that. So I knocked on Tammy's door when she was the HR manager in Bournemouth, and I asked for some cross training. She allowed me to do the cross training and offered me a role a few weeks later within as a human resources officer. And to be honest, I had no idea what human resources was. And I think a lot of people you speak to who work in HR will probably say they have no idea what HR is. But it's essentially a lot of people management, helping the career of the individual throughout from when they first start, so recruitment, supporting their progress in their career throughout, so learning and development, making sure they get paid, and also supporting them in times that they need. So one of that things is Marriott have given me the opportunity, and I am a mental health first aider, which they paid for. And I think that really helps me with my career, but it also supports the rest of the team in the hotel as well. And I am the go-to person if anyone has needs any support in regards to their mental health. So it's really part of Marriott to take care of not just their customers, but also their associates as well. Alongside this HR officer role, I did also take on the Voyage Graduate Programme. So once you leave university, you can apply, or you're about to leave university, you can apply for the Voyage Graduate Programme, which is a leadership development programme. And this allows you to work with lots of senior management across the hotel. You essentially go in as a supervisor role, really just understanding what it takes to be a leader within Marriott, and you get so many opportunities to go meet other people in other hotels, do training. I even met the area vice president, which I never thought I'd ever be able to do. And it's been a bit of a whirlwind of a journey, but I also was able to have the opportunity to do what we call a secondment. So I did 6 months at the Worsley Park Marriott Hotel and Country Club, which is in Manchester. So I took that risk and it paid off. I was able to do my CIPD at the same time I was in Worsley Park. And not long after that, I was promoted to be the Human Resources Manager at the Bristol Priory Marriott Hotel and Country Club in Derby. So I was able to travel around quite a lot. And then in 2020, I secured the role of multi-property HR manager across Portsmouth and Bournemouth Marriott hotels. I didn't do that without taking risks. Risks from my personal life, also risks with my professional life. So my tip for you guys is, don't be afraid to take risks. If it doesn't pay off, it's not the end of the world. It was a risk for me to even go into HR in the first place, because I didn't really know anything about the role, but it really has, it's great. Another thing I would probably say is probably find yourself a mentor, someone, if they're either official or unofficial. They really help you and they want you to succeed, and they will do all they can to help you succeed. It doesn't have to be within the same company, could even be outside of the company. I think Tammy could probably talk to you about that as well. She is also a mentor for people wanting to get in hospitality as well. And my other thing is do what you love as well. So, something that you're passionate about. You hear Cepdia talking about being a chef, and you can hear his passion. And I think that that's what it is in hospitality. We just have a lot of passion for the company, for each other. Skills, knowledge and experience needed for my role. Obviously written and verbal communication. Like I said, I am mental health first aider, so I do need to make sure I am empathetic as well and respectful of any situations. I'm proactive, resilient, which I think we've already spoken about, dependable, and I have good time management. Other things I need to make sure I'm looking at doing is data analysis on a daily basis. So like I said, making sure people are getting paid. Advising managers if they have any issues in regards to employment law, coaching those managers, but also training as well, counselling, recruitment and strategic analysis. So that's a little bit about my background. So let's talk a little bit about how you can get into hospitality. So let's talk about apprenticeships. So apprenticeships obviously are a great way for you to develop practical skills and start earning straight away. Probably debt-free as well. So that's great. Maybe that's one of the biggest points. You can go straight from school into an apprenticeship. At Marriott, we have finance apprenticeships, so that could be level 1, level 2, 3 and 4 in finance assistant and accounting. As hospitality apprenticeships, there's like a hospitality team member, supervisor, manager, professional chefs. So you could start off as a commis chef apprenticeship, move on to a chef de partie, production chef, or even a senior chef as well in production cooking. There's also leadership apprentices, so leadership and management, team leader, operation department leader and apprenticeship. And there's also some customer service ones as well. So the other one I want to talk to you about, obviously I mentioned, was I was a Voyager graduate. So the Voyage program is Marriott's, it's 12 to 18 months after you've finished university, is award-winning global leadership program to support future leaders of the company across Marriott's hotel brands. And you receive hands-on and virtual training in many disciplines. So it could be accounting, culinary, engineering, events, food and beverage, human resources, revenue management, and rooms operations. So you can immerse yourself in all the operations of the hotel through mini department rotations as well. So I got the opportunity to go around all the departments and do a few days in there to see how it works within HR and how I can support each department. You can create a great network of global colleagues as well. Like I've mentioned, it's one of the great things about working in hospitality is the culture, and also you get to engage with senior leaders. Talk a little bit about work experience and placements. So work experience placements you could do whilst you're at school. So we provide 1 to 2 weeks work experience placements, even at the Bournemouth Marriott Hotel. So if you are interested, do contact us. And we also provide T-level placements as well. So obviously T-levels are when you're at college, and we offer students a mixture of classroom learning on the job experience and join any, I think you have to do about 45 days. I think that's the main thing, but you can do that in the area, any area as well, any department. The other way you can get into hospitality is either full-time or casual work. Like I said, I did start off at Marriott in casual work, but I have managed to do the voyage program at the same time. Many people also start off in a direct entry role, is what we call them, and they can also have Marriott paid to do an apprenticeship for them to learn the skills alongside their job at the same time. So here are these are some of the roles available in hotels. I tried to put as much variety as I could, but there are so many more opportunities out there, which I think people forget about with customer service, with hospitality. They think that it's just a customer service role, but there's so much more to it. You know, you could go in a hotel management, which is what Mike is. Mike is a hotel manager. And you can also go in, he's also been an operations manager, which he'll tell you about as well. And so there's all sorts of roles in hotel management that you can go into. Sales and marketing, if you're interested in event management, being an event planner, wedding coordinator, conference and banqueting, if you prefer the operations and customer service side to it, and even specializing more in kind of golf and sports events as well. There's just so many opportunities. Hotel operations, where Cepdia wants to get to, head chef. We have, you know, you could go in as a waiter, but you can work your way up to director of food and beverage, front office receptionist, housekeeping manager, just so many roles. And obviously, don't forget those supporting roles like myself and Tammy, HR, maintenance, greenkeeping, finance, there's just so many opportunities. So why hospitality? So if you have the travel bug, which I think a lot of us do when we go into hospitality, this is probably what you're looking for. Many roles include traveling around the globe. Obviously today we're talking more about hotels, but there's so much more to hospitality, whether it's cruises or travel companies. And also so you get the chance to explore, not just getting paid to do that if you want to do a job where you get paid to explore, but also there's so many good discounts for when you work in like a hotel company to be able to travel. I've actually on this screen I have put the hotels that I have been able to stay at, and they're all amazing, all unique as well. So there's so many opportunities, and whatever kind of style you like, it's out there. Like I said, the culture is the biggest thing as well. The other thing with working in hospitality is it's extremely sociable. So one of the fundamental aspects of the job is obviously working with great, excellent customer service and creating a strong rapport with people. But it means you'll be interacting regularly with customers who are from all over the world, making the entire job experience varied and fun. And if you are a people person, constantly meeting and connecting with clients is very rewarding and very fulfilling as well. One thing most of us look for when deciding to work in the sector is how we can progress over time as well. And I think with hospitality, it's a chance to work your way up the ladder in both a very feasible and very likely time as well. There's all sorts of other benefits you get as well, such as free access to the hotel leisure clubs, gym, cinema discounts, recognition for, you know, going above and beyond for the guests. And also, you know, we want you to feel valued and we want you to feel appreciated. And that's exactly what we do for our guests. We want them to feel valued and appreciated as well. So I believe I'm now going to give you to Mike, and Mike will talk a little bit more about his career and also about the values of Marriott and what skills and traits to look for.
Hello everyone, So my name's Mike Harrison. I'm currently the hotel manager at Bournemouth Highcliffe Marriott. So hopefully you know the building right on top of the cliff, big white building. So I suppose I'm not a typical hotel manager for the career routes I've taken. I initially did lots of hospitality jobs when I was younger. I worked in bars and all kinds of things. I worked at the Student Union Bar when I was at uni, and lots of different hospitality jobs through sort of growing up and earning money. And a lot of people take those jobs to earn money whilst they're at university or college. And I enjoyed those. Again, it's the camaraderie of working with other people and working with the general public. But I did a degree in sport and exercise science, so it's very different entry route into hospitality. It's not a hospitality degree. I achieved that degree, and then I couldn't find a job in sports science because it wasn't very popular back when I did it. There was only a couple of universities in the UK doing sports science, and only the top sports teams took on sports scientists. So I decided I'd go and get some life experience, and I traveled the world for a year, which was great. Saw lots of different cultures, lots of different things. And when I got back, I still wanted to work in fitness, and found a job working in a hotel. And it was actually a different brand to Marriott. I worked for a company called Intercontinental Hotels, or Holiday Inn at the time. And I worked for them as a gym instructor in one of their gyms for about 4 or 5 years. But I worked myself through lots of different hotels, and that's the great thing about hospitality, is you can move between different properties. And I don't think I was in any property for more than a year, and I moved from lots of different properties in different parts of the UK, and eventually got myself to be a leisure club manager working for them. Then a personal change made me move to a different part of the country, and I moved and started a job with Marriott as a leisure club manager. And I worked there and saw that there was plenty of opportunities with Marriott to develop myself. They offer a lot of training, a lot of development, and I got progressed to one of the flagship properties, which is called Hanbury Manor. So it was a 5-star golf and country club when I moved there, and I moved to be the director of leisure there. And I took over a very exclusive leisure club, which you had to pay a debenture to be a member, and there was a huge spa and and a 5-star hotel attached to it. And I had a great GM there, and who pushed me and developed me. And within I think about a year and a half, the golf director left, and they decided to offer me both roles. So I ended up being the golf and leisure director. So I was now looking after an exclusive golf course as well. Jack Nicklaus, for those of you who know Jack Nicklaus is from golf courses, he designed the golf course at Hanbury Manor, and I was looking after that golf course, about 250 acres of grounds, a walled garden, lots of different things I'd never done before. I've got no experience in that, and again, it's learning all those things through training, through development, through experience of others who work at different hotels, that I developed my career in those departments. I had to look after different types of customers as well within so it wasn't just hotel guests. I was looking after members. So I was looking after leisure guests and golf members at the same time, and some quite high level meetings which I had to be involved in with the owners of the hotel at that time as well. So I got lots of experience with quite a lot of different aspects of the world, really. I was doing things with legal teams, I was doing things with HR teams, I was doing things as a customer service perspective. And it gave me a really good rounding of understanding lots of different paths and avenues which you can work in hotels. And I think a lot of people, as Becki said earlier, think hotels are mainly into the customer service and what you're delivering to the guests as they come through the door. But it's not all about that. So it culminates in what we deliver to the guests, but we have a lot of sales and marketing people, we have a lot of legal people, we have a lot of insurance people. So vast amount of different roles. And actually today I was on our call, which delivered a next 5-year plan for Marriott, and they put every department president on that call, and basically we went through all the different departments, and you'd be amazed about all the different careers you can follow within Marriott. So after I'd been a golf and leisure director, I was kind of at the pinnacle of golf and leisure for Marriott in the UK. I could have moved abroad if I wanted to, but I decided I wanted to stay in the UK. And my general manager kind of took a chance on me and decided to move me into a role where I started to look after all the bedrooms at Hanbury Manor as well. So I was looking after the golf, leisure and bedrooms at Hanbury Manor. And that was quite a large role. I had about 200 people working for me. And I was now looking after the sort of the check-in experience of guests, what we call the at your service desk, which is where we take all the phone calls in the hotel, deal with all the room service. So yeah, dealing with a lot of different things within the hotel. And that gave me the experience to then move away from that hotel and go to a new hotel as a director of operations, which basically leads the team, is the number 2 to the general manager in the hotel. And in this particular hotel, I had a multi-property general manager, so quite often I was left in charge of the hotel, and I would run the hotel myself, so all aspects of the hotel, from the health and safety through to looking after all the team, to the guests, to every aspect of the operation, writing all the budgets and so on and so forth. Again, with a lot of support from above property teams that provide you that support with Marriott. Now, I didn't get to those positions without a lot of training and a lot of development, which again, Marriott offered you for free. Most of the training we get sent away on. You have to go to another hotel, which is great because you get to stay away from your current workplace. You might go away for a week and get trained and by people from outside of the company, being brought in who are experts in particular things, but also from trainers which Marriott have developed. And there's many different topics that you can get developed on, which are fantastic. So eventually I got promoted through a couple of director of operations roles, and I got put on by one of my general managers, the Marriott Elevate program, which is designed to elevate associates in senior positions already, but to become general managers of hotels or hotel managers of hotels. And that course lasts for a year. You get given a mentor, general manager, who talks you through. You have to do a lot of assignments and different things, and you have to go and see your mentor quite often and talk about how you're operating your hotel, any problems, what you need to learn. And then you get a week's residential course at the end of it where you meet and go and sample a lot of the hospitality. So I went to London and I ended up going to a lot of the 5-star hotels in London, and we stayed at different hotels on different nights, and we experienced some of the hospitality. We also then had meetings and individual chats with the presidents of Europe and of different disciplines. So for the HR or the operations leaders and so on and so forth, to try and give us an understanding of how Marriott want their general managers to be and to develop. And it's all around looking after people and putting people first as an experience. So I was then promoted after I'd completed that course, and I'd been a director of operations for a few years, to being a hotel manager at a golf and country club. So my first experience of being a hotel manager is I was in Norwich. I worked in a place called Schrouder Manor, which is no longer a Marriott. Unfortunately, the owner decided to sell that hotel. But it was a 92 bedroom, 18 holes of golf, large leisure club, driving range, about 160 acres of land, as my first role, which was quite challenging, to be put in the hot seat with no one else to go and really ask on a day-to-day basis what to do next. So it was interesting to start off in that role and being the person that was answering everyone else's question rather than having to go to the general manager and ask, if you've got a problem, can you help me solve it? I was that person. It was a change. And it takes a bit of time to get used to that, to be honest with you. But I got there, and I worked for that hotel for about 18 months, 2 years. And unfortunately, Marriott decided that it was going to be sold. And I then moved to Bournemouth Marriott. So, and I've been here for about 2 years now, just over 2 years in this role at Bournemouth Marriott, which is a slightly different hotel. It's not quite as resorty, but it's still very much by the sea, and we get a lot of leisure guests, but the business mix coming to the hotel is very different. So probably enough about me. I've worked for Marriott for 15 years now. I've worked in hospitality for about 20 years, which makes me sound really old. But you can get as far as you want to in this company, as long as you put the work in and you're willing to work. As you can see, I don't have a degree in hospitality. Yes, I've got a degree, and it may have helped me understand what I needed to do to learn to develop myself, but you don't have to have a degree to start. I know one of our most renowned leaders in the company, named Rainer Sackow, started as a pot wash in one of our kitchens, and he ended up being the chief operating officer for Marriott in Europe. So you can start anywhere. The training's available for you, and a lot of the training nowadays is very much virtual. So again, you don't have to rely on anyone to provide you with the tools. You can just go and do it, and you can go and learn. So I'll move on to core values now. So Marriott has 5 core values that we work by. So serving our world, putting people first, pursuing excellence, embracing change, and acting with integrity. And very much so, the company follow these core values. So things like putting people first, I'd probably say is the very first core value, where, you know, we put our associates first, we look after our teams first, and then they will follow on and look after all our guests that come through the door. So we do things like Associate Appreciation Week once a year. It's a global thing. So every single Marriott, 1 week of the year, we kind of stop and thank all of our associates, and we do fun things all week, crazy things all week. You're again dressed up in some crazy uniforms or throwing sponges out for charity or stuff like that. So it's really fun week, and we try and make it a week where we say thank you to all our associates, and that's done globally at every single Marriott hotel in the world for 1 week. We do lots of things for our charity and try and put things out into the community. We try and live with our community, so we try and make sure that the hotel is involved in the local community. So that's more around serving our world. So, you know, things we've done over pandemic, a lot of hotels have donated food. A lot of the staff that have been put on furlough have gone out and worked in different sectors to aid the pandemic efforts. So, and again, the hotels, at the moment, I'm providing one of my car parks to the BIC to use for their mass vaccination centre. So there's lots of things going on that we try and look after our community as well as our guests that come through the door. We always pursue excellence. So we're always after awards and to deliver the best possible experience for our guests, our associates. So we're always looking for a recognition, but we're also providing the best quality training that we can provide for people who join the company, and the opportunities for people to join the company and go as far as they want to go. I think one of the ones that I really like is we always act with integrity. We do business with integrity. We won't do any deals with people which are underhanded, you know, we don't, you know, no one thinks about doing any kind of bribery or anything like that, and it's all frowned upon, and we don't do any kind of business like that. And if someone came to us with a business offer like that, it would be declined immediately. We make sure we try and deliver high standards as a company for others to follow. And we embrace change. We're always changing. I've worked for Marriott for 15 years, and we've changed massively in those 15 years. We now, when I first started, I think we had about 4 or 5 brands. We've now got 30 brands. We grow. We've purchased companies. We've delivered changes. So we wanted to be the world's largest hotel chain. We managed to get to that pinnacle. So now we want to be the world's largest travel company. So Marriott are diversifying into different things that they offer and they do. So for those of you who don't know, we offer a thing very similar to Airbnb called Homes and Villas, but it's just on a different level. It's Marriotized, if I would call it like that. We we tend to call people who've worked for Marriott a long time a bit Marriottised. They've got their chip inserted to say, you know, you'll follow those guidelines. Do you want to move to the next slide, Becki? So traits and skills for a good hospitality person. So putting people first, as I've said before, so someone who's empathetic, calm and composed, a good communicator, passionate about what they do, confident. And again, you don't have to be all those things straight away. You might not be the most confident, you might not be the most good communicator to start off with, but you will learn those traits. Those traits will be found within you and developed. So one of the good things with the leaders in the companies, they'll look at traits that you have and they'll try and develop those traits to stronger traits, and hopefully develop some of your development areas to be stronger as well. Serving our world, so energetic, resourceful, taking care of others, a team player. So it's always good to hear, and we hear lots and lots of stories across the Marriott brand about how our associates look after each other. So especially during the pandemic, we've heard lots of stories of people going out to visit associates who may have had to shield, or you know, we've done their shopping for them and dropped them off at the door, and all kinds of different things which have happened during pandemic has shown really how key players we are. And we've had lots of examples of those in the past, where we've had natural disasters in countries where they've had to really pull together, and you know, people from the Marriott have gone out and helped their local communities rebuild. Pursuing excellence. So again, you need to be ambitious. You need to not know what you want to do as a career, because I didn't know what I wanted to do as a career. I never knew I wanted to be a hotel manager, but you need to be ambitious, to take on risks, to try something. You can always try and being in finance and then decide, oh my God, I hate this, and go and work in sales and marketing and decide that's the thing for me. And there's lots of different avenues to do that. And as long as you put 100% into what you're doing all the time, you listen to the training, you listen to your mentors, you'll develop a career which will really deliver what you want. Embracing change. So your career will change many, many times. And you might want to change your career, and you can do that within this hotel. So like I've said, you might decide, I might decide now I want to be in HR. That would be Tammy's worst nightmare. But if I wanted to be in HR, I could decide I want to do my CIPD. And I'm sure Marriott would, if I put enough effort into it, would pay for it for me and allow me to change my career into that sector. So it's about what you want to do, what you want, what you're passionate about, and finding yourself. And acting with integrity, as we've already mentioned, honest, humble, responsible, respectful. I think they're just normal human traits that we all try and work for and work together to be. And you know, as long as we're with our guests, with our associates, then I think we're on a winner. So I think is that all from me, Becki? I think that's all from me. So Q&A now. So if you've got any questions for us, or any questions have come in, then please fire away.
So I'm going to let everyone turn their microphones if they want. So if you have a question, please pop it in the chat, or if you'd like to just speak your question, then go ahead as well. There we go. So you should have access to your microphones now if you want them. I have a question, Mike, actually, if I'll grab this moment of silence and go first. Yep. Could you give us an idea of what kind of percentage of people are working in different roles? So, you know, is it 5% lawyers and 20% hospitality staff and 10% grounds people, or what's like the range of career occupations in a hotel group? Okay, wow. Okay, it's quite difficult. In my current hotel, I'd say it's limited. So you're going to have 10% in finance, 10% in HR, then probably 20%, 30% doing rooms, 20% doing engineering, and then the rest doing food and beverage pieces. But when I worked at Hanbury Manor, I mean, I would had sales and marketing. So we had I had a whole department doing that. I had lots more people in sales and marketing, in
in events. So we had specific people doing events. I had a greenkeeping team of 20 guys, golf team, golf professionals working for me, leisure professionals, beauty professionals, and then rooms professionals, food and beverage professionals, engineers. So I mean, it's vast. I wouldn't limit yourself. Again, if you're in the different aspects of hospitality, I wouldn't limit yourself. I would go in what you think you want to do to start off with, what you're passionate about, but I wouldn't limit yourself to one career path. I would look at all the different career paths as you're growing up through the business and what you're understanding about. Do you still if you went in as an engineer, do you still enjoy engineering 2 years later, or do you want to try something different? If you want to be in my role, you have to try lots of different things. I've done rooms, sports, golf, food and beverage. I had to take secondments to do food and beverage, to learn food and beverage as well, to get into my role. So
fantastic. And I think we've got a question from James at Bournemouth School for Boys. One for Tammy, when my work experience might be available, and then one for Rebecca, how long the Voyager program lasts for. So if we can go to Tammy first.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a great question. And we're working through all of this, and Mike, feel free to chip in, because this is your hotel, I think, that we're talking about here. But currently the Bournemouth Marriott, for example, is not open. So once the hotel has been able to reopen, we would be able to look at that probably in a bit more detail. We're also exploring other ways of carrying out work experience. So we're working with actually BCP and the Careers Enterprise Company with regards to virtual work experience options as well. So maybe to do a bit of a blended approach, but it's obviously, we're very conscious that it's about the duty of care to the employees, the customers, and obviously to yourselves. But we're very passionate about getting that back up and running and looking at more creative ways in doing that. And the virtual option is definitely something we're seriously considering. Does that help answer the question?
Absolutely. And just going back to James as well. So yes, you would apply through the school, the information for virtual work experience. It'll be running quite possibly with opportunities with the Marriott, but that will be in June, and you'll get information from your teacher. Perfect. And could we go to Rebecca to learn a bit more about the length of the Voyager program?
Yeah, so the Voyager program is around 12 to 18 months long. I think I completed it just under 12 months. So like I said, it really is at your pace as well. So although, yeah, we get a great graduation at the end of it, which is good. And I just noticed this other question about obviously the COVID-19 and how this impacted the tourism industry. I'm sure Mike could probably answer it a lot better, but I think one of the things really is that it actually hit London a lot quicker than us. We saw a lot of, because London is so reliant on international business, but also businesses in the UK as well. We saw the decline a lot quicker in London, and at first we weren't so worried in the probably outside of London, but it did very quickly change drastically. So Mike can probably answer that one a little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic's had a huge effect on hospitality, especially did affect, and it's still affecting London more than it is probably the provinces. But from a perspective of Bournemouth, we've been closed now. I've had to shut the hotel, which is unprecedented, 3 times in a year. In 2020, I had to shut the hotel 3 times. So I'm currently shut again because the level of business is just not enough. I could be open at the moment if I had the business to be open, but it would only be for essential travel. So people who are having to travel for business or medical needs. So in effect, it's not worth us being open right now. But from the perspective of the hotel, we had a bit of a crazy year last year because I was extremely busy over the summer period. When the initial lockdown finished, I ran a hotel at 100% for 3 months, which was extremely challenging because we we had a different type of guest. There, everyone was a leisure guest, and it wasn't the typical type of guest we would have in the hotel. And we had to run on our restrictions, so social distancing restrictions, reduced capacity in restaurants. So it was challenging for all the team and the staff, but I think we did a great job. And unfortunately, we're trying to see the back of this virus, and hopefully with the vaccines coming out now, we'll start to see the back of this virus and start getting back to normal business towards the summertime.
Excellent. And we are just a few minutes over time, but I see there's one more question for Cepdia. So if we could maybe answer that one and then bring things to a close. So Cepdia, James asks whether would you recommend doing A-levels or going straight to catering school at 16?
Ideally, I did both. You know, I did Angie's Catering, and I also went to catering school. So if you can try and get away with doing both, I would highly recommend it. If you can't, I would say go to catering school. You'll learn so much about running a business, running a restaurant, being in charge of staff. They will teach you practically everything. You just got to try and hang in there as much as possible, because it is very, very difficult. And what I found was the tutors were very, very strict. So if you didn't turn up maybe 2 or 3 days, they won't ring you. They'll just kick you off the course. You know, to them, they're not fussed at all. You know, so it's down to you to really push it and, you know, try and do your best at what you can be. So yeah, I will definitely do it. If you can, try and do the degree as well. You know, it's really good fun. Honestly, it's absolutely amazing. And I'm pretty sure Marriott will always support you through it, regardless of what. That's okay.
Brilliant. Thank you, Cepdia. That's so insightful. And what's really clear to me, actually, we've just got one question. How do we access the video? So we'll make sure we email the video out to you all who've been on the call. And I really encourage you to share it with your friends who are not here now, who might be able to watch it in the future, and you'll be able to watch it back. So thanks for that. But yeah, thank you so much to everyone who's spoken today at the Marriott. And what I was going to say is it's so clear to me that Marriott not only put all the effort into the customer service, but into their people. And that really shows here. And you know, there's loads of good companies out there who do that, but there's other companies that might not as well. So, you know, really thank you for that. And also to remember that you know, you're going to learn a lot throughout your career, and being able to move around and change roles is a really important. So thank you very much. And I just want to remind everyone that the Dorset Careers Live is not just a one-off thing like today. You know, there's a series of these. So some of you might already been to some of them about healthcare. JP Morgan did one. We've got one coming up, STEM careers. So if any of you are interested in that, in the Dorset Council, and that's on the 10th of Feb. And the RAF have snuck one in as well on the 3rd of Feb. So, you know, I would encourage you to watch these videos. It's only an hour, and you can really get a great insight, and you know, it gives you that flavour of it, especially while we're all in lockdown. So we hope you've really enjoyed it, and I'm sure you'll join me in saying thank you, a massive thank you for Tammy, Rebecca, Mike and Cepdia. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.